The NFL is a lot like working a regular job. The more you do, the more they expect. That's why at my job, you're going to get what you're going to get. Nothing less, nothing more. So there are a couple of teams last year and a couple of players that hit some big strides. Some of them overachieved. Some of them got a little bit better and they're expecting a little more. But in the NFL, it's different. If you do a little better, they expect a little more and you're under a little more pressure. So here are a couple players and a couple of teams that are under pressure for the 2022 season. Number 1, Jalen Hurts. The Philadelphia Eagles finished 9-8 last season and clinched a playoff berth. And although Jalen Hurts completed 61% of his passes, threw 16 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, his accuracy and his slow reads are still a big question. Now, the Eagles made some big-time moves, trading for A.J. Brown, who finished with almost 3,000 yards and 24 touchdowns as a member of the Tennessee Titans. Devontae Smith also showed great potential last season, and the run game could make some huge strides this season, provided Miles Sanders stays healthy. It would help if the defense improves too. I mean, they were at the bottom of the league in sacks, and they allowed 28 touchdown passes and a 70% completion rate. That was the worst in the league last season. Philly's got to step up, and Jalen Hurts has got to improve, because if he doesn't, then the Eagles may be looking for a quarterback in the 2023 draft. Number 2, that Green Bay Packers defense. I wasn't too keen on Joe Barry at the beginning of last season, but he definitely proved me wrong. They were 9th in defense, and they ranked 5th in the NFC, and with their biggest offensive weapon in Devontae Freeman going to Las Vegas, the defense is going to have to be that much better. Now, Kenny Clark is one of the best nose tackles in football, and Jarran Reed and Devontae Wyatt are going to have to step up, along with linebackers Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. That front 7 is going to have to be outstanding. Now, as far as the secondary is concerned, you got Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes. They could be a top 5 cornerback tandem, provided Alexander stays healthy. He missed some time last season with the shoulder injury, so Green Bay's defense is going to be under a lot of pressure to help Aaron Rodgers and keep the ball in Rodgers' hands. Number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs offense. As usual, it's Super Bowl or nothing for the Chiefs. Back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, losing in 2021, followed by a second-half AFC title collapse last season, and now watching your best player take his talents to South Beach. People would think that it may be a wrap for Kansas City, but I'm telling you, hold your horses. They still have the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes, with a legendary coach in Andy Reid, one of the best tight ends in the NFL in Travis Kelce, and to replace Tyreek Hill's departure, the Chiefs added 2 sure-handed weapons, former Packer deep threat Marquez Valdez-Scantling and former Steelers slot threat Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, the goal isn't to do what Tyreek Hill did. He had 111 catches, setting a franchise record, but they should be deeper when you throw second-rounder Sky Moore into the mix and Josh Gordon coming to form. The Chiefs should actually be okay. I think they'll be okay. Now, I think what's interesting is Patrick Mahomes had the worst year of his career last season with the fewest passing yards per game. He had 284.6 passing yards, which was still ranked 5th in the NFL. Let me tell you something. If the road to Super Bowl goes through Arrowhead in the AFC for a 5th straight year, do not be surprised. Number 4, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals overachieved last season. I knew they would be the team to beat and people would watch for them, but I didn't think they would upset the Chiefs in Arrowhead and make it to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow threw for 4,600 yards and 34 touchdowns last season, and that's with one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Now, Alex Coppa and Ted Karras and another former LSU star in Lael Collins are 3 new starters that will be led by Jonah Williams and Jackson Carman to help provide better protection for Joe Burrow next season. Now, as far as the receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both racked up 1,000 yards apiece receiving. And Tyler Boyd overall has compiled 4,571 receiving yards with 24 touchdowns. This trio is on pace where all three of them could be 1,000-yard receivers and could easily be the best receiving core in the league. Not to mention, Joe Mixon is expected to have another 1,000-yard rushing season if he stays healthy. In my opinion, he's got to stay healthy at least 14 out of the 18 games. Now, the Bengals' defense was 5th against the run, but they were 26th against the pass. So to fix that, the Bengals stocked the secondary with Dax Hill and Cam Taylor. Cam Taylor Britt, and Jesse Bates III is back for another season. The defense should be a lot better against the pass. Unfortunately, the Bengals, with all the improvements, are going to have a very hard time getting back to the Super Bowl with all the talent and the way the AFC is stacked. The pressure is on Cincinnati to deliver their first Super Bowl title in 3 tries, actually 4. And that's if they can get back to the big game. Number 5, Baker Mayfield. When the Browns drafted Baker Mayfield in 2018, Browns fans hoped he finally would be the answer to their prayers. And it looked to be. So far, for the first time in 2018, he had the Browns playing meaningful football in the month of December. We're going to disregard 2019 because I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know who that coach was. Never mentioned 2019. But by 2020, that will be the breakout year for Mayfield. He passed for 3,563 yards, 26 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, and he led the Browns to an 11-5 season and their first playoff victory since 1994. They also beat their arch-rival Pittsburgh Steelers in back-to-back weeks. 2021, though, was a different story. That's when it would all go downhill. He went down in touchdown passes, and he increased in interceptions. Injuries piled up, and Baker's inability to throw frustrated Browns fans and the team. It got to a point that fans would voice their displeasure, prompting the Browns to acquire Deshaun Watson in the biggest contract in NFL history by any means necessary. More on that in another episode. Baker did not get a fair shot in Cleveland, and now that he's in Carolina, he'll have not only a second chance at redemption, but he'll have a chance to lead an underrated Panthers team offensively and a young core if he wins the starting job over Sam Darnold. This season, we will see how good Baker Mayfield can really be when he's healthy. I think the pressure is on if he wins the starting job in Carolina. Who else do you think is under pressure? Let me know. Put it in the comments. I'm Rico McGee. This has been the Sports Minute. All right? In a minute.